Hello, and welcome to the Wade Borth Podcast. I'm your host, Wade Borth, and in every episode, my goal is to get you to think differently about how money works and ultimately to empower you to take control of your money and your personal financing system. Hello, and welcome back to the Wade Borth Podcast. Today, we're going to continue on a conversation we started in part one of the 8 benefits of whole life insurance. So today, first we're going to recap kind of what we spoke about in part one. So if you're just hopping into part two, I would encourage you probably go back and listen to part one because it's just a lead in. But as we start and we think about it, what are the benefits? Why do people want to buy? Why do people of wealth, why do people that think a little bit uncommon love the purchase of whole life insurance? Because they understand they're getting more than just one benefit. And so today I want to talk about what are those more than one benefits. And there's maybe more than the 8 that I'm going to go through, but it's the 8 that we find that most people are drawn to and they go, oh, I see, I get that. And once they understand what the benefits are, they see as paying premiums more from an expense to more, they look, because most people look at life insurance as an expense. Oh, I have to pay that. And once they understand what value they're getting from those premium dollars they're putting in the policy, they're going to go from I need to pay that to I want to pay that. And why is that? Because now they're really starting to understand the value. And if you can see true value in what you're buying, why won't you want as much as you possibly can get? Again, if it aligns with what your goals and your values and your needs are. So this is where we're going to talk about a little bit more about all the benefits of whole life. So we started off by talking about the guarantees. You have a guaranteed liquidity contract. So in the time that you pass away, there's going to be money for somebody to relieve financial pressure on the family, your spouse, your kids, or whatever it might be. We love the idea of increasing cash value, and the level premiums is really a hedge against inflation. So that's the first one. Then we go into this idea of constant compounding. So constant compounding just means where's money flowing to? We want money to stay in our own financial ecosystem, and that's really where the wealth creator is. Again, banks love it when you save. They love it when you borrow because money is always flowing into their ecosystem and out of your ecosystem. So think about it. If we can close this ecosystem, keep all our dollars within us, that's what a true wealth creator does. The closer you become to having all your money stay within your own ecosystem, the wealthier you're going to become. Liquidity. Again, liquidity has a lot of different values. In times of stress, the difference between an opportunity and chaos in most people's lives is like who has access to money. So when you have your policy doing all these other things and the time you need it, it's there. It provides liquidity, provides cash, access to money, whatever you want to call it. That's a tremendous value of properly structured whole life insurance. It can give you a peace of mind, it can relieve financial pressure, or it can give you the ability to take advantage of opportunities. So again, I would encourage you to go and listen to the previous podcast to get into that. It has flexible loan provisions. So we talked about that in the previous one, where this is a real key benefit because it allows you to borrow against the line of credit against your policy, and you set the terms. And there's no middleman, there's nobody telling you what you have to do. But then that responsibility falls on you, and that you have to love yourself and your family more than you love Wells Fargo. There's another provision in here that's pretty interesting that some people love, some people really dismiss, but I love to bring it up. This idea of privacy. This is what we call the 5th benefit of whole life insurance. What do I mean by privacy? Well, it's private, right? It's pretty straightforward. But think about what a whole life contract is. It is a contract, a private contract between you and the life insurance company. It's a private contract between you and the life insurance company. So who knows about it? I say it twice because people sometimes go, what? Huh? But nobody needs to know that you have this contract. Does your accountant need to know it? You don't get a 1099 every year. Nope. You don't have to report it anywhere. So the point is, unless you volunteer the information, nobody needs to know you have it. Why is that valuable? I don't know. Because the government and the lenders, if you borrow money against your policy, by the way, it doesn't show up on a FICO score. It doesn't show up on a credit reporting. It doesn't show up anywhere because unless you're telling people you have it, unless you're telling people you're using it, it doesn't show up anywhere. So think about that from what I would call the wealthy in the United States.
How do we know that Donald Trump has policies? How do we know that Joe Biden had policies that he borrowed from to run a campaign? I'm not here to say, have a political conversation, but you can go back in history, and every president typically will borrow against their policies. The only reason we know it is because the government requires that filing to say, where's your money at and where did you get your money for your campaign? But if it wasn't for that filing, you would never know where he got those dollars. So again, people that understand money, understand wealth and how to grow it, understand that privacy can be a very good option because you don't have to report it anywhere. So we can talk about it more if you want. Again, Wade at sagewellstrategy.com or hop on our website, schedule a meeting. But again, with privacy, we probably have nothing to talk about. So just kidding. It's a great tool. It's a great benefit, and it can serve you if that's in alignment with what your values are. One of the things we talked about, and I think it's worth bringing up multiple times, is that we've seen policies grow each and every year. Monthly cash value growth each and every month. Think about that. I said each and every year, but I mean each and every month. Your cash value has to go up. Guaranteed it has to go up. And this is why banks love this asset so much. They love whole life because it's an improvement to their income statement without them having to do a dang thing. If you borrow against it, same thing happens. It still has to go up. Cash value still has to go up. If I said it one more time, I'll say cash value has to go up. Guaranteed growth inside your contract. And it happens each and every month. So again, I'll just bring it back to, we see banks owning, billions of dollars, by the way, of this product of cash values in whole life contracts. And the reason why, there's a number of reasons, but one of the big reasons is an improvement to the income statement. So there's a tremendous value there for people that say, why would I want to own this asset? Again, is it expensive to own when we start learning what all the true values are, or what all the true benefits are that we're getting? And so this is one thing, we'll talk about it here at the end, but just imagine you put $1 towards your policy, and you don't have to choose where that value, what that benefit, where that dollar goes to which benefit. That benefit happens, all these benefits happen for every dollar. So let me just repeat that. It was a little bit confusing. Every dollar you put in gets all these benefits immediately. So you don't have to choose which benefit to buy. It's like if you walk into a buffet line, you drop down $1, you get access to the chicken, you get access to the shrimp, you get access to the fries and the bacon. So you get access to all of it with that same dollar that you're putting into it. The next benefit, this is an interesting one, income tax-free death benefit to your beneficiaries. So why is that important? Well, okay, let's talk about financial pressure. If you can just imagine, close your eyes, and just, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Think about closing your eyes. But if the rest of the financial world, at the time of a death, what happens? Well, again, this part I want you to imagine. Imagine somebody's hands are stretched out towards you, fingers open, or palms open towards you. At the time of your death or your loved one's death, what happens? Everybody in the financial world wants to close their hands, close their arms, and squeeze all the money back to them. They want to hold on to it. IRS wants their dollars, right? The Wall Street, the money managers, they all want to keep the dollars within their circle because that's the value that they have. They charge you for those dollars you have with them. So they all want to put their arms around your money and pull it closer to them, which in turn means it's going further away from you. The life insurance industry says, no, let's push those dollars. So now imagine me, my hands, my fingers up, my palms towards you. Imagine pushing a stack of dollars towards your family and your loved ones. It's a powerful image from the standpoint of we're the only industry that pushes dollars to you at the time of financial pressure and emotional pressure versus the rest of the industry that wants to grab that money and pull it closer to them and further away from you. Because that's the commitment they made to you. That's the insurance company made that commitment to you and your family, and that's the certainty that they're bringing. That's the clarity and that's the freedom that we have with that contract we have with that insurance company, is that they will be pushing money towards us at probably one of the most financial stressful, emotionally stressful times you're going to have in your life. They're pushing dollars to you instead of pulling them away from you. And income tax in the IRS is the same way. They want their chunk. They want their chunk of dollars. But the thing that they're not going to tax is the income, the income tax on those death benefits. So think about that for a second. How valuable is that? Is that a tremendous value? I think, somebody that's been in the industry over 35 years, you delivered death claims. I know this for a fact. When we deliver a death claim, we're the only people showing up with a check. Everybody else has a bill. Or they want to put constraints. Hey, you're going to keep your money with us and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's an awful time to have that conversation. Quite frankly, it's an awful conversation to have. I love delivering a promise at the worst possible time in people's lives. The most unimaginable time in people's lives. So, again, that's one of the benefits, but I think about it from a tax-free, income tax-free transfer of wealth, because the IRS doesn't get an income tax portion of that. So that's the next benefit. So, and that's really, that's the last benefit that's part of those 8 benefits. And so you wrap all these benefits up together. It's super valuable to think about how whole life insurance can get all those with the same dollar. If my son, who's 18 years old, buys a policy, he gets the same benefits I do at almost 60. So think about that from the standpoint of no matter what your age, no matter what your income, no matter what you are, when you're buying this contract and you're saying this is alignment with my values and it's going to serve me the way I want it to serve, with the guarantees and the clarity that it's going to serve, because again, it's there to serve you. Then the idea of, premiums are heavy or premiums are burden, we're going to start seeing them a little bit differently. And people, we're going to start seeing as it's tremendous value. I want to put every dollar I possibly can. And I have clients, I've talked to clients that said, oh man, I wish I'd have put more in, or I wish I'd have done this a lot longer. I wish I'd have started sooner. All the different, wish I would have's happen when people own this product for a long period of time. And the hurdles they have to get over are just the preconditioned thoughts about, life insurance is expensive to own, right? Or it's the worst investment of all times. Because they don't understand what it is, right? And most people, from lack of understanding or for lack of knowledge, they're not able to embrace this asset, because it is a servant to you. It's a servant to the people that go, I get how it aligns with my values. I get how it aligns with my financial life. It's here to serve me in many ways. And again, we highlight just the 8 ways it's being a servant to you. And there's more, but again, these are the big 8. So as you go into it, go into this idea of just critically think. Again, just imagine, why do people have wealth? Why do people that have lots of money park a ton of money inside of whole life insurance? And again, do you know that they have a ton of money there? Typically not. Why? Because it's private. But they also talk about it, and they'll explain why they do it, right? There's books written about this idea. Why do banks keep a ton of money there? Again, if it's the worst investment of all times, why do people that have a ton of money putting money there? It kind of makes you question the messenger, doesn't it? The message and the messenger. What do they have to gain? So, anyhow, I would love to have a deeper conversation about this. I would love for you to reach out to me, Wade@sagewealthstrategy.com. Let's have a conversation. Put your comments below if you're subscribe to this, to our channels, because that's helpful to get this message up. Because again, it's not about one benefit versus a savings accounts and their one benefit. It's not a benefit versus, it's in totality, does it align with what you want to achieve? And if we can say yes to that, then it's okay, does this need to be part of what I'm doing? It's not going to be all of it, but it's going to be part of what we're doing. And what part are we, does it serve? It's not an investment. I'm not going to tell you to buy this instead of real estate or stocks or anything else, but is it the right sequence to have some of your dollars sitting in this asset class? So reach out to us. We'd love to have a conversation with you. We're going to be kind of following through on this series, just talking about, the path of money and how we can use this asset to serve us and serve our needs. So again, thank you so much for your time, for listening. Just reach out to me if you want to have a little bit deeper conversation about this. So thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
If you're enjoying this podcast or know anyone else that might be interested, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and please leave a review. This will help this podcast reach and help more people by ranking higher in searches, and ultimately help more people get out of financial bondage. And don't be afraid to share this podcast with your friends and family. as we can be easily found on Apple Podcast and Spotify.